Blackwood Manor stood shrouded in darkness. The ancient manor, nestled deep within the Blackwood forest, creaked and groaned against the relentless October wind. A lone owl hooted, its mournful cry echoing through the desolate woods. Inside, a fire crackled in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the dusty portraits that lined the grand hall. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, a chilling reminder of the secrets hidden within the manor's walls. The manor had stood for centuries, a silent witness to generations of the Blackwood family. Each stone, each creaking floorboard held a story. Tonight, however, a new chapter was being written, a chapter shrouded in fear and uncertainty. The Blackwood family, once known for their lavish parties and carefree laughter, was now gripped by a chilling silence. Their beloved daughter Anya was missing. The grand dining room, usually alive with laughter and conversation, was heavy with an oppressive silence. Lord Blackwood, his face etched with worry, sat at the head of the long mahogany table. His wife, Lady Blackwood, sat beside him, her elegant features pale and drawn. Tears streamed silently down her cheeks as she clutched a lace handkerchief. Dinner, a lavish spread prepared by the family's seasoned chef, lay untouched. The aroma of roasted pheasant and spiced wine filled the air, a cruel reminder of the normalcy that had been shattered. Only hours ago, Anya had been laughing, her bright eyes sparkling with mischief. Now her chair sat empty, a chilling void in the heart of the Blackwood family. Where could their little Anya be? A knock echoed through the silent hall, momentarily breaking the oppressive silence. Lord Blackwood, his shoulders slumped with despair, rose to answer it. At the door stood John Wilson, a retired detective whose reputation for solving the most baffling cases was whispered in hushed tones. His keen eyes, though shadowed by the weight of countless investigations, still held a spark of determination. "Lord Blackwood, I presume," John said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "I'm here about your daughter." Lord Blackwood nodded, a glimmer of hope flickering in his eyes. He ushered John into the dimly lit hall, the scent of damp stone and beeswax heavy in the air. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Wilson. We're at our wits' end." John, his gaze sweeping over the grand hall, noticed the smallest details: a misplaced rug, a scratch on the polished floor. He had a knack for seeing what others missed, for deciphering the silent language of a crime scene. John's investigation began immediately. He moved through the manor with a quiet intensity, his eyes missing nothing. The staff, their faces etched with worry and fear, were questioned. Each room was meticulously examined, each shadow scrutinized. John, with his methodical approach and sharp intuition, began piecing together the events leading up to Anya's disappearance. He learned of Anya's love for hide and seek, a fascination with the manor's many hidden nooks and crannies. He examined the nursery, its toys scattered as if in haste, a child's book lying open on the floor. The housemaid, her voice trembling, recounted Anya's fascination with a particular painting in the West Wing, a portrait of a young girl who bore a striking resemblance to Anya. The manor, once a place of comfort and familiarity, now seemed to close in on John, its shadows whispering secrets he was determined to uncover. As John delved deeper into the mystery, he uncovered whispers of a long-forgotten tragedy. The Blackwood family, it seemed, had a history as dark and intricate as the manor itself. Years ago, a young Blackwood heir had vanished without a trace, his disappearance shrouded in rumor and speculation. Some whispered of a jealous relative, others of a tragic accident. The case remained unsolved, a chilling reminder of the Blackwood family's vulnerability. Could Anya's disappearance be linked to this past tragedy? Or was there something more sinister at play? The weight of the past pressed down on John, the air thick with unspoken truths. The staff, a mix of loyal servants and recent hires, offered a tapestry of perspectives. Mrs. Higgins, the stern but kind housekeeper, had served the Blackwoods for decades. Her loyalty was unwavering, her concern for Anya genuine. The gardener, a quiet man with watchful eyes, seemed to know more than he revealed. His connection to the land, to the secrets it held, intrigued John. Then there was the new governess, Miss Eversley, a woman whose beauty was only surpassed by her air of mystery. She had arrived at Blackwood Manor just weeks before Anya's disappearance. Her answers to John's questions were careful, rehearsed, as if she were hiding something. Each member of the staff held a piece of the puzzle, their lives intertwined with the Blackwood family. But was one of them harboring a dark secret? A secret that could lead John to Anya. Days turned into nights, and still there was no sign of Anya. The atmosphere at Blackwood Manor was thick with despair, the silence broken only by the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. John, exhausted but relentless, refused to give up hope. He pored over his notes, his sharp mind searching for a connection, a clue that had been overlooked. Then, as he reviewed the gardener's statement, a detail surfaced, a detail so small, so seemingly insignificant, that it had been dismissed. The gardener had mentioned seeing Anya near the old well on the edge of the Blackwood property. The well, long sealed and forgotten, was said to be bottomless, a source of local legends and children's tales. Could Anya have wandered there, and if so, what had she seen? Section 8. The Unveiling. With renewed determination, John, accompanied by Lord Blackwood and the gardener, made his way to the old well. The air grew colder as they approached, the trees pressing in on them, their branches heavy with unspoken secrets. The well, its stone rim overgrown with moss and ivy, seemed to exude an aura of menace. Carefully, John peered into the darkness. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic, something that sent a shiver down his spine. He called for a lantern, its flickering light revealing a horrifying truth. At the bottom of the well, partially submerged in the murky water, lay Anya's favorite doll. Its once bright eyes now stared blankly up at them, a silent accusation. Someone had been there. Someone who knew Anya, someone who wanted to ensure her silence. Section 9. The Silent Witness. Back in the manor, John gathered the household staff and the Blackwood family in the grand hall. The tension in the air was palpable, the silence broken only by the crackling of the fire in the hearth. He recounted his findings at the well, his voice calm but firm, his gaze sweeping over the faces before him. Anya's disappearance was no accident, he declared, his voice echoing through the silent hall. Someone in this room knows what happened to her. He paused, letting his words sink in. Then, with a dramatic flourish, he directed their attention to the portrait gallery lining the walls. But there is another witness, a silent witness, who has seen everything. He pointed to a particular portrait, the one Anya had been so fascinated with. The portrait of the young girl who bore a striking resemblance to Anya. Section 10. Justice served. Look closely, John commanded, his voice low and steady. Look into the eyes of the portrait. As the firelight flickered, casting dancing shadows on the painted canvas, a collective gasp arose from the assembled group. There, reflected in the eyes of the portrait, was a scene so chilling, so unexpected, that it sent a wave of shock through the room. The reflection, though faint and distorted, was clear enough. It showed Miss Eversley, the governess, her face contorted in anger, pushing Anya towards the well. The truth, hidden in plain sight, had been revealed by the most unlikely of witnesses, a silent observer, frozen in time. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room. Miss Eversley, her face drained of all color, crumbled to the floor, her carefully constructed facade shattered. In the end, it was the silent witness, the portrait that had stood watch over generations of Blackwoods, that had brought Anya's abductor to justice. Section 11. Echoes in the Halls. With the mystery solved and Anya safely returned to her family, John Wilson prepared to leave Blackwood Manor. As he stood on the steps of the manor, the first rays of dawn breaking through the darkness, he couldn't shake the feeling that the manor held more secrets than it revealed. The wind whispered through the ancient trees, carrying with it the echoes of laughter and sorrow, of secrets kept and revealed. Blackwood Manor, once again, stood silent, its secrets safe within its walls. But John knew, as he turned his back on the imposing structure, that some stories were destined to be told and retold, their echoes lingering long after the final page had been turned.